All right, so I'm going to go over a couple problems here to see if they can help you out. So this first question says, simplify -3 times 2 squared minus 4 divided by 2 plus 6. Remember, we have to follow our order of operations. So I'm just going to write them over here. We remember this by using the expression, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we're going to start with parentheses. So we look here, we have parentheses right here. So that's what we're going to start with. Our parentheses, we see what's going on in here. Well, there isn't anything really going on inside, but we have our parentheses raised to the second power. So if we go to our exponents, which are next, we're going to look at 2 squared. And anytime a number is raised to a power, that's what we call this number, is a power, you're going to multiply this number by itself that many times. So 2 squared is equal to 2 times 2 because it is 2 raised to the second power. If it was 2 cubed, then I would have 2 times 2 times 2. So that's showing that I'm multiplying 2 by itself 3 times. 1, 2, 3. But for this equation, we have 2 to the second power, or 2 squared, which is the same as 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 gives us 4. So now I'm going to write that in our equation. I'm going to write our next step. So now we have -3 times 4 minus 4 divided by 2 plus 6. So we don't have any more parentheses, we don't have any more exponents. So now we move to multiplication and division. These we will do side by side, working left to right, whichever comes first. So first I have -3 times 4. So -3 times 4 is -12. But we still have -4 divided by 2 plus 6. But we're not done with all multiplication and division. We're going to keep going. We have subtraction, so we're going to leave that. But now we have this 4 divided by 2. So here's our next step. Let me use a different color. 4 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I'm going to bring all the rest of this down. We have -12 minus 2 plus 6. So now we're done with multiplication and division, and we move to addition and subtraction. Again, following left to right. We have -12 minus 2. There's our first, so we're going to start here. So now we have to follow our integer rules because we have negative numbers. So -12 minus 2 is going to be the same as adding the opposite. So we're going to add a -2. So we have same signs. We're going to add the numbers together. So 12 plus 2 is 14. And we're going to keep the sign. So it was negative. So we're going to keep our answer. So far, we're -14 plus 6. And now we're going to finish it out. -14 plus 6, we have opposite signs. I'm going to write that down, opposite signs. Means we are going to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So we're going to subtract 14 minus 6. We're left with 8. And 14 is the bigger number, so we're going to use the sign for 14, which is negative. So our answer here is -8. And then I think this next question may help you as well. and my little stars here simply mean multiply. So now we're going to do some more, but this one's going to be with fractions. So we still need to follow the same order of operations: parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. We look here, we have no parentheses, we have no exponents, but we do have some multiplication. So we're going to start with that multiplication. So I'm going to start with my first one. 1/2 times 2/3. So if you need to, just write that by itself. 1/2 times 2/3. And when we multiply fractions, we can just multiply the numerators and the denominators together. So that gives us, see, 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times 3 is 6. We'll make a little note right here so I don't go below this line. So now we have 2/6 plus 1/2 times 4/5. We're going to keep going with that multiplication. So now we move here to 1/2 times 4/5. Just like we did before, we can multiply our numerators together and we can multiply our denominators together. So 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 5 is 10. So we have 4/10. And we have 2/6 plus 4/10. Now, I haven't simplified these fractions, so let's go ahead and simplify them and see if that helps us add them together better. So we can simplify 2 and 6. A common factor for both 2 and 6 is 2. So if I divide the numerator by 2, I got to do it to the denominator, and I get 1/3. So if we look over here at 4/10, they have 2 in common as well. So if I divide them both by 2, I get 2 goes into 4 2 times, 2 goes into 10 5 times. So we have 1/3 plus 2/5. Now we have to find a common denominator. And the easiest way to find the common denominator here is to multiply these two numbers together. So we get 15. So my denominators will be 15 for both. So 3 times 5 is 15. So I've got to do the same thing to my numerator. So 1 times 5 is 5. And then our second number, 3 times 5 is 15. So 2 times 3 is 6. Now we can add. We have same denominators. We're going to add them together. Denominator stays the same of 15. You can do 5 plus 6. So we get an answer of 11/15. This was our answer. I hope that this video and going over these two problems has helped you out. Let me know if you still have any questions.